During this journey that we are on right now, most of the things I'm doing at my fasts, and I'm so happy that I get to do them with my husband. I warmly welcome you all to my journey. Hi, my name is Sowino. I do videos around cooking, farming, and homesteading in general. If this is the kind of content that interests you, kindly click the subscribe button for more videos. This is the second week of our building journey, and honestly, most of the time we find ourselves making so many trips to town, either to restock nails or just grab something small. So today, we went to town really early in the morning and decided to pass by the market. We had seen these guys before, selling trees, flowers, herbs, and all that, but we had never actually gone up close to check them out. Over the week, we have really been contemplating whether to start buying trees or not, because, as you have probably already seen, our compound has zero trees. As we were driving back from where, we even thought of getting some fruit trees along the Sagana dual carriage. But we got caught up in storytelling during the drive, and then we witnessed an accident on the other side of the road, and that completely threw us off. We ended up forgetting all about the trees. But even now we are in that dilemma. We don't want just to plant trees randomly. We want to have a proper structure or plan that guides us, so that when we finally start planting, we are confident that each tree is in the right place. Otherwise, what if in a few months or years, we realize that a tree is growing right where we need to build something else? Then it has to come down. That will feel like such a waste. So we were just wondering, should we wait until we are at the landscaping stage? Maybe that's when it will be clearer what needs to go where. As of now, the only spaces we are really sure about are the main house, the outdoor kitchen, and the kitchen garden. The rest, we honestly haven't figured out yet. Why am I even putting so much pressure on myself? As if everything is supposed to be perfect from day one. Sometimes the thoughts that go through a creative's mind really just need to pass. Because why am I even overthinking all this? Since we had already decided where the kitchen garden will be, we figured why not pick a few seedlings to start off. Just the usual ones Kenyans eat on the daily. There were onions, tomatoes. Though I was very skeptical about the tomatoes, I still picked them. Eggplants, kale, spinach, and some kienyeji vegetables like managu and terere. We also took the curly kales, or as they are called here in Kenya, skuma matumbo. I have come to realize that there are specific vegetables you'll find in one part of Kenya that you might not find in another. But we really love eating kienyeji vegetables. So we took plenty of those, even though we didn't find every variety we wanted. We'll just figure out the rest as we go. Also, my husband and I don't eat cabbage. He's actually allergic to it, and personally, I just don't like it. I think it stems from how it used to be prepared in school. It completely put me off. So when I met my husband, and he told me he's allergic to cabbage, I genuinely felt like I'd met my rescuer. But maybe once the house is done, and we've brought our family close, and our duck farm is up and running, maybe, just maybe, we'll plant cabbage and so many other vegetables we've seen them enjoy. For plants like maize, beans, and cereals in general, I've always planted them directly into the soil, and that's generally how I see most people do it too. Even at my mother-in-law's place, where we do large-scale farming, we just plant straight into the ground. But now with vegetables, especially for a small kitchen garden like ours, I'm wondering, what's really the best approach? Should we be starting with seeds in trays and then transplanting them? Or is it okay to just buy seedlings and plant them directly, like we're doing now? I'd really love to hear your experiences and tips in the comments. Let's learn together. We kept asking the vendors questions, checking which seedlings look the healthiest, and thinking ahead how they will fit into our kitchen garden. It's funny how buying seedlings suddenly feels like a big decision. Thinking about it, it actually is, because we are not only buying vegetables, we're investing in our home and our food. We finished with the vegetables and went back to where we started. I had already picked out the herbs I needed. Wait, why am I saying this like I had over 10 different ones to pick from? It was just rosemary and mint. Those were the only ones available. But I love rosemary so much. It's such a versatile plant. If you have many rosemary plants in your farm or garden, you are sorted. Apart from cooking with it, rosemary can be used to make herbal tea. It helps with digestion, boosts memory. Also, it acts as a very good mosquito repellent. Plus, it's low maintenance. It grows well once it takes roots. Once we were done at the market, we went straight back to the site. And as usual, the Makuti guys were already up there doing what they know best. It was only 9 a.m., and they had already covered almost half of the section they were working on. That was impressive. Their pace and consistency really keep the energy on site going. In the previous video, I mentioned that I was doing a small test to see whether the roof will leak. I had stored some rice straws under the section where the Makuti had already been installed, and I'm happy to report that they were all completely dry. That was a good sign that the roof is actually holding up so well. I was really happy with the progress. There was no need for constant supervision. They just know what needs to be done and they got on with it. That kind of independence and skill really gives you a peace of mind, especially when you have so many other things to think about during a build. After checking in with the fundis, we went straight to the spot where we want the kitchen garden to be. We took our measurements and started marking out the area, just using strings and sticks, but at least it gave us a clear picture of the space we are working with. We don't have a formal garden plan yet. It's really just trial and error until we finally get it right. We are figuring things out as we go, based on what feels practical and what space allows. We also had to think about how the sun hits that area, how water will drain when it rains, and just how close it is to the kitchen for convenience. It's the little things we are learning to consider as we go. Nothing is fixed yet. We might even shift things around later. But for now, this is a good starting point. We don't want to rush into building permanent beds or fencing before we are sure the layout works. So for now, we are starting small and staying flexible. There were so many stones in this area, but it didn't make the process challenging. It was really just a matter of picking them up, tossing them into a sack, and setting them aside. Our land has a lot of stones actually, and I'm already thinking of ways to use them in the future. We might use them to mark out the garden beds, or maybe even incorporate them into the house somehow. Who knows? Either way, we are collecting them for something useful down the road. The good thing is we have plenty of stones to work with, so we won't have to go searching for them when the time comes. It's just one of those little surprises that comes with building on a land like this, but it's something we're embracing as part of the process. It's funny because sometimes these little surprises, like the stones, turn out to be real assets later on. It got me thinking though, for those of you who have built on your own land, what have you found that stand out to be useful down the road or helped you cut the costs? Any materials or resources that worked out well for you in the future? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. We started digging the whole portion bit by bit, removing the grass and weeds. I tell you, this grass here was tough. It had really taken root and didn't want to let go. It wasn't just a quick rake and move on situation. No, we had to go in with chambers and really put in the work. As I continued digging, I started noticing how different the soil looked in various parts of the section. Some spots were soft and easy to work with, while others were dry and full of roots. It made us start thinking about how we might need to improve the soil before planting. Maybe add compost or manure later on to help the vegetables thrive. For now, the goal was just to get the ground ready, one row at a time. The guys on the roof were doing really well. They had left one of them to finish up a very small section on the side they were working on, and now it's just the front part of the house that's remaining. I can't believe that in about 2 or 3 days they might be done, just estimating based on the speed they've used to install the Makuti so far. Here, They were also working on placing a small frame at the entrance of the house that they hadn't fixed yet. The roof so far is looking really neat, clean lines and well packed. And let me tell you, the inside feels so cool. You can already tell the makuti is doing its job in keeping the heat out. It gives the whole space a calm, shaded vibe that makes you want to just sit and relax under there. Just standing outside, looking up at the roof, I couldn't help but admire how neat it looked. Even from out here, you could feel the cool breeze coming through. This makuti is already proving it was the right choice. We had taken a break earlier and now we were back at it, continuing with the digging. At this point, the energy was a bit better, and even though we knew we wouldn't finish it all in one go, the goal was just to keep making steady progress. We kept digging slowly, removing more weeds and leveling out the soil. Every small section we cleared started to give us a better picture of what this garden might eventually look like. While we continued with the digging, the Makuti guys were still going strong up on the roof, fixing the frame, moving from pole to pole, nailing and hammering with so much focus. Every now and then, one of them will call down and ask if we liked how it looked so far. And honestly, we did. The structure was starting to take shape, and seeing how neatly everything was coming together gave us even more excitement for what's ahead. They were adjusting the frame carefully to make sure everything aligned well, moving up and down to double check the measurements. You could tell they took real pride in their work, even with the small details. Watching them work together made me appreciate how much of a skill this really is. This kind of careful workmanship is not easy. Bit by bit, that front section of the house was coming alive. Time was moving fast, and it was slowly getting to that point where the guys will wrap up for the day. But honestly, I can't complain. Here, you just start doing one thing, and before you know it, the whole day is gone. I remember when I was younger, I used to wonder why adults would go to work or the shamba and spend the whole day there. I will think, can they just finish in 2 hours and be done? But now I understand. Things never really end. You either find something to do or something finds you. I also used to wonder why someone would carry food like porridge, sweet potatoes, githeri, or ugali to the farm. Are you going to eat or work? My friend, after today's work, and it wasn't even a big portion, I totally get it. Carry whatever you like. If you want 2 large bottles of porridge, just do you. I now understand why my mother in law always has a pot of githeri ready when she's preparing her land for farming or reading, or really anytime she's working out there. She will look at the amount of food my husband and I eat and wonder what's wrong with us. Why can't we just eat and be full? It's not that we don't eat to our fill, it's just that we're not used to eating that much. But now, I totally get it. You need that kind of energy to keep going. All that work burns so much more than I realized. And you know what's funny? Even with all the work, there's something deeply satisfying about it. Just digging, clearing the grass, and seeing that bare ground at the end of the day. It gives a kind of joy that's hard to explain. It's not glamorous, it's not fast, but it feels real. Like you're preparing the ground, not just for vegetables, but for something meaningful. I think that's why people stay in the shamba all day. It's not just the food or the work, it's that sense of purpose that keeps pulling you back. We were now almost done with the digging. It was just the final stretch, removing those last bits of grass and stubborn weeds that had been left hanging. You know how you think you're done, then look back and realize there's still a patch that wasn't dug properly? That's where we were. So we just kept going, slowly making sure we didn't leave too much behind. It's those small untouched corners that tend to grow back fast and undo all your work, so we didn't want to take chances. It felt so good to see what we had done. By the time we were finishing, the Makuti guys had already finished and left. Didn't even notice them, but they had done a good job. So we finished digging the land. The next step is adding manure and then planting the herbs and vegetables we bought earlier in the market. The sun is going down right now, so it's late. We can't do that right now. We'll do that first thing tomorrow morning. We'll start by manuring, right?
Yes, and then mixing it with the soil.
Yeah, I've forgotten that.
Yeah, and then from there, I think we'll
It's
just plant because
yeah.
it's already cured, it's already dry, so I think we'll just plant.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to do first thing tomorrow morning. See you in the next video. Bye. We shall try again tomorrow.